Hello everybody, Justin here, and today I am here to share my first attempt at a parallel Jenny Barnes deck. If you don't know, Jenny Barnes finally had her parallel version released in Gen Con, and while there hasn't been an official announcement article for it at the time of recording this video, you can still find her in various places on the website, and I'm pretty sure one of those is actually in the print and play section of Fantasy Flight Games. If you don't know, I have an announcement video where I made it. There'll be a link in the description, but there is also this, which we'll talk about here. So Parallel Jenny still is 3 across the boards. Her new ability is, as a reaction, after your turn begins, play a talent asset reducing its cost by 1. So this is very similar to Leo Anderson, our good guy who does it with allies. Our good gal, Jenny, she does it with talents. She also can discard a talent asset you control to gain resources equal to that asset's printed cost to a limit of 5 resources per round. Her ult design effect is +0 if you succeed, gain 3 resources. Her deck building has left Dunwich in the past and is now new, shiny, and really cool. Rogue cards 0 to 3, deck size is still 30 by the way. Rogue cards 0 to 3, neutral 0 to 5, and up to 10 other non-permanent talent cards level 0 to 5. By the way, there is a link in the video description to this deck that I'm about to showcase if you want to, follow at your own pace or look at the deck and get the heck out of here. Notably, at the time of this recording, it is not actually updated to be actually Parallel Jenny. She's not on ARKHAM DB right now. However, in the future, if you're seeing this and it's been a while, let me know in the comments and maybe I'll check to see if there's a new one. Her new signatures are advanced versions. It still enters with X cost and enters with X ammo, and you can still spend 1 ammo to fight. You get +2 fists for this attack, and this attack deals +1 damage. However, it has a new reaction ability, where after you defeat an enemy using the above ability, you can exhaust Jenny's twin 45s and gain resources equal to that enemy's printed health. This is really nice because there's no cap on it, which means if, for example, you beat an enemy that has, 3-player health and there's 3 players, you get 9 resources. Wow. Her advanced signature is very similar to the first one. It just gets +2 Shroud. So pretty standard, and I think worth the 10, the extra advanced thing for the Jenny's twin 45s. Now, when I was looking at this deck, my easy thing that I always do with rogues was Lucky Cigarette Case 3 and lockpicks, and focus on clooving. But I wanted to actually try to build around a combat Jenny, so that's what I did for my first attempt at Parallel Jenny. Next week, there will be a video of this deck in action. It needs a little bit of tweaking, but I was actually pretty satisfied with how it was for my first pass at an investigator, so let's check it out. As I said, this is a combat deck, so I'm going to be fighting things, but first, before we get to the things going in order, I want to instead look at all of our talents. So, you get 10 talents that are above level 3 rogue. So if you have a rogue talent that is, for example, level 2 or level 0, it will not count towards your thing. However, if it's like a rogue 4 talent or a seeker 0 talent, in the case that we have here for these first examples, it will take one of your 10 slots. I went with Empirical Hypothesis and Fieldwork as 2 of my level 0 talents that I wanted to focus on for this deck. The reason for that is that Fieldwork is nice and easy to just get some easy value out of, and Empirical Hypothesis also kind of synergizes with Lucky Cigarette Case, and it just gives us more cards, and that means more talents and more things we can draw. Additionally, both of these cards are pretty easy to just turn into money with Parallel Jenny's ability, because remember, you can discard a talent you control to gain resources equal to its printed cost, and you're always going up 1 resource on that because it was free. It was 1 less to put into play and also a free action. So while I didn't put any experience into Empirical Hypothesis, you definitely can with the build that you take. But for this version, it was just I was looking for a level 0 talent that I could use to fill that spot and then eventually turn into money. On to kind of our flashier stuff. So this was the easy things that everyone kind of saw that you could do with Parallel Jenny, and that was the level 4 versions of the core set talents. So I have one level 4 Hard Knocks, which gives you 2 resources, and you replenish them each round, and you get +1 fist and +1 foot. You can spend resources from it or from your resource pool. This is insane. So the thing that is really good about Parallel Jenny's ability is obviously that it saves you an action. The cost is nice, but being able to play one of these talent outs each turn is really powerful because you actually like don't lose any of your value doing so. You just like get it out into play, you get to play it, and you get to just like immediately start accruing value. This was also accompanied by 2 copies of physical training to kind of protect me in all areas but my book. So once these were in play and like you get them out and play really easily, you find them, you draw them, you do your thing, it's very impressive and you're able to get your numbers really high. These 2 also have really good symbols on the side of them. So that's why I thought my other level 2, 1 of talent, was well prepared. You can kind of see that in the second row, third column. You can exhaust it to choose an asset you control with, and you get plus X skill value, or X's number of matching icons on that. If we go back to Jenny's gun, it also has really good icons on it. Like, it has, what, a fist and a foot and a wild? Sorry, the sun's just bright as hell, and I'm just trying to not blow out. Oh, so it has 2 wilds and a foot. So it's, like, really good at, you know, working with well prepared. My last 2 cards that I put into my 10 talents were Steady-Handed level 1 in the Seeker class. This is a new card with Hemlock Veil that has continued to impress me, and while I got it out late in my gameplay, it has some good synergy with the Empirical Hypothesis and the Lucky Cigarette Case 3, which is why I put it in here. Really, the name of the game for this deck is relatively simple, right? It's put your talents into play, use those talents to just accrue value. I only have 4 guns in my deck, but we have other tools to deal with enemy management or incredible card draw to get us there. So we have 2 Mauser C96 in level 2 and 1 British Bulldog level 2. Accompanying with that with Jenny's pistol, which you're hoping to just like load up on ammunition so you don't run out of it. It does a really good job of being able to handle the enemies as they come up. I did get a little bit like lucky with how my enemies drew when I was playing this one, but once things were up and running, you were kind of just smooth sailing and getting ready to kill things. I had 1 of Well Connected as well to work with all of this. This is a card that I think probably should have been a 2 of, and honestly, like the level 3 version is gonna probably be worth it in the majority of these Jenny decks, because while she is sacrificing her original ability of getting 2 money every turn, she really succeeds in, you know, like making that money because she's able to sell things so quickly, and she has just that generic rogue economy, and especially when her twin 45s are doing things, they're going to do things, and they are going to do those things very well. Last card up on the top in the 3rd column is Lucky Cigarette Case 3. This one, I do seriously think it's one of the strongest cards in the game. It didn't do enough for me early enough because I was a little bit late on my other copy, like I had Hard Knocks, but I didn't have physical training. And also we weren't seeing as many enemies, so I wasn't able to really trigger it. I do think that was an anomaly, and I think this deck would run pretty smoothly with it, but just like maybe like a 2 of Well Connected, drop the coup de grace, and like replace them with something else to kind of like balance through. But I was overall quite impressed with how this thing worked. Bouncing off of Lucky Cigarette Case, we have a few things that synergize with it in the form of Breaking and Entering and Sheep Shot. Once you know your talents are going and your well prepared's in play, your Hard Knocks and your physical training, these numbers are going to get really high and really easy to manage, and that's super super nice to be able to then find the cards you need. A contraband here was a cheeky little thing to do to double up the ammunition on the guns, which I think can be pretty good. I don't know if it's necessary, but I think it can be pretty good. I had some coup de grace to help with my management of enemies. And then we had some simple economy in the form of 3 copies of Easy Mark because it's Myriad and it costs 1, and then 2 Faustian Bargains because Faustian Bargain is just that damn good. Closing it off, we have an Overpower just to, you know, replace itself with something else. So this deck is relatively simple. It's basically just like Stat Ball. You just put in the 10 talents. I think that Parallel Jenny, if we go and look at her again to close out this video, I think that she has a lot of versatility. I want to actually bring her through a campaign because I think she would be very fun to play with, and I kind of want to bring her into do a Clue version of her because I think that would be pretty sweet. So expect Parallel Jenny to show up again on the channel very soon. I think she's really cool. I think she is a very successful parallel investigator, and I think that she feels very different than regular Jenny, because regular Jenny, while there are people who like her, I think some of that is kind of copium. She does have like a niche with her like Green Man medallion, but like when you usually don't play, when you usually don't value experience in the sense, because you know you can like manage with less of it, it's less of a hook, right? So it's less interesting. And while she does have that, her regular version just from Dunwich at this point now is like got outclassed by Parallel Skids, Preston, and Bob, right? So now Parallel Jenny, I think, is a good showing for who she is, and I think will really rock at being a really cool investigator for people to play. So that's my Parallel Jenny deck. Let me know in the comments what you were thinking of cooking up with Parallel Jenny. Huge thank you to all of our patrons for supporting the channel. You guys all rock. In the meantime, have a good one. Thanks for watching. And as always, GG's.